On February 21st, the streets of Madrid bore witness to a powerful display of dissent as hundreds of Spanish farmers descended upon the capital in their tractors. The convoys of tractors disrupted traffic around the Spanish capital, with farmers converging in downtown Madrid to march towards the Agriculture Ministry. But what was the reason behind this extraordinary display of unity and defiance? Join us as we take a look at the remarkable events that unfolded in Madrid, where hundreds of farmers converged to voice their grievances and demand change. Before we dive into this video, take a moment to smash that like button and subscribe to our channel. Be sure to hit that notification bell as well, because we have more interesting videos on the way. Tractor convoys brought traffic to a standstill in Madrid on Wednesday, the 21st of February, as farmers gathered to express their dissatisfaction with perceived bureaucratic hurdles and inadequate government support. The demonstration, centered around the Agriculture Ministry, is part of a broader movement spanning Europe. The farmers are united in their plea for a reduction in bureaucracy related to the European Union's Common Agriculture Policy and a relaxation of the bloc's environmental regulations. The protests have been ongoing for weeks, underscoring the widespread concerns within the agricultural community. As the protesters who donned yellow vests anticipated the arrival of 5 columns of tractors at the central Independence Square, they waved Spanish, regional, and union and rang cowbells while blaring music from loudspeakers. The bustling scene caused a standstill in traffic around the Puerta de Alcalá monument. The congestion disrupted the usual flow of buses, rendering several unable to proceed along their designated routes as the streets became packed with farmers expressing their grievances. Upon the arrival of the tractors, confrontations unfolded between the farmers and police, as the protesters sought to proceed along Alcalá Street, a different route from the original plan. Donned in riot gear, officers stood firm, creating a barrier that impeded the protesters' forward movement, despite the presence of several tractors approaching the scene. Amidst the commotion, a group of protesters directed their discontent towards a television crew from La Sexta channel. In a display of displeasure, one individual took it a step further by repeatedly striking the camera. That was not all, as one farmer strolled alongside a large white and chestnut cow, while another took charge of a cart drawn by 2 sturdy oxen, laden with stacks of counterfeit €500 notes. Lucia Risueno, a 52-year-old proprietor of a vineyard hailing from the Castilla-La Mancha region, expressed her dismay, saying that authorities had failed to help the sector and emphasized the urgent need for fairer prices. "I have the same expenses, but I'm making half as much, so we can't go on like this," she said. Lucia added that the ongoing protests would persist until the government took decisive actions to provide substantial support to the farming community. Adding his voice to the collective plea, Adolfo Albaladejo, aged 54, underscored the significance of preserving agriculture in the country. Fearful of the industry's potential disappearance, he stated, "The Spanish countryside wants protectionism. We want to protect our products and be competitive." It might not be wrong to say Adolfo's words reflect the broader sentiment among the protesters, who are advocating for measures to safeguard the agricultural sector and ensure its viability in the face of economic challenges. As earlier noted, these protests extend beyond the borders of Spain, encompassing farmers throughout Europe. The widespread demonstrations have persisted for weeks, spanning across various countries, including France, Germany, Belgium, the Netherlands, Poland, Spain, Italy, and Greece. While some issues addressed are specific to individual nations, others resonate on a broader European scale. In Eastern Europe, the focal point of the demonstrations revolves around farmers expressing concerns about what they perceive as unfair competition stemming from a substantial influx of imports from Ukraine. Notably, the European Union has exempted these imports from quotas and duties since Russia's invasion. In Poland, farmers strategically blocked traffic at the border with Ukraine. This action, according to Kyiv, is affecting its defense capability and helping Russia's aims. Meanwhile, Czech farmers took to the streets, driving their tractors into downtown Prague, thereby causing disruptions to the usual flow of traffic, particularly in the vicinity of the farm ministry. The farmers express a strong aversion to imports, emphasizing their belief that such imported goods exert undue pressure on European prices, while failing to meet the environmental standards imposed on European Union (EU) farmers. Adding to the existing concerns, there is renewed tension and discontent among farmers about unfair competition in sugar, grain, and meat. Fueled by renewed negotiations, aimed at finalizing a trade deal between the EU and the South American bloc Mercosur. In Greece, farmers are vehemently advocating for higher subsidies and faster compensation processes to address the extensive crop damage and livestock losses incurred during the floods of 2023. In two of the European Union's agricultural powerhouses, Germany and France, farmers are mobilizing against proposed measures to terminate subsidies or tax breaks associated with agricultural diesel. Greek farmers are urging for a reduction in the tax on diesel, while in Romania, protests in mid-January predominantly revolved around the soaring costs of diesel. These diverse challenges across European nations show the complexity of the agricultural landscape, where farmers grapple with a spectrum of issues. As these voices unite in their respective calls for support and fairness, one cannot help but wonder what the governments are doing to tackle these issues. Towards the end of January, the European Commission presented a proposal aimed at restricting agricultural imports from Ukraine. This proposal introduces an emergency brake, specifically for the most sensitive products, including poultry, eggs, and sugar. However, despite this measure, producers expressed dissatisfaction, saying that the proposed volume limitations remain too high. The Commission has also granted an exemption for EU farmers in 2024 from the obligation to leave certain portions of their land fallow while still receiving farm support payments. Instead, they would need to grow crops without the application of pesticides. French Prime Minister Gabriel Attal unveiled measures that include controls to ensure that imported foods do not contain traces of pesticides prohibited in France or the European Union, and talks to get higher prices for farmers and loosen bureaucracy and regulation. Both Paris and Berlin have also relented to pressure and reversed their initial plans to terminate subsidies or tax breaks on agricultural diesel, while in Romania, the government has taken proactive steps to increase diesel subsidies, tackle insurance rates, and expedite subsidy payments. As agricultural concerns continue to reverberate across Europe, we can only hope that things change for the better soon and everything returns to normal. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to our channel if you have yet to do so. Be sure to hit that notification bell as well, because we have more videos on the way that you cannot afford to miss.